Thank you very much for joining us today. This is a series that we've been running since the, I guess I hate to call it a lockdown, but since we all got sent home from our offices back in March, we've been doing these Tech Talks live every month. And as you are aware, our sponsor is RingCentral. So a big thank you to our sponsor, RingCentral. We have Paula, Emily, and Jessica is here with us in the background. We also have some of the corporate data and voice solutions crew in attendance. Joe Spampanato here, as mentioned. We have Pete, Kelly, Christy, and Rachel. They are all here as well. You probably recognize one of those names. They've been doing a fantastic job inviting folks to this event. Quick agenda rundown. You know, we do our welcomes as we did before the 11 o'clock hour. I have a few slides to go over for those folks that do not know CDVS or Corporate Data and Voice Solutions. RingCentral will take it over for a period of time, probably wrapping it up somewhere around 10 of. And then we do urge, as you heard, we do urge questions and answers throughout, but we will give an opportunity at the end for any general questions to be asked. Is that about right, Paula?
That sounds perfect.
All right. So again, for the folks that don't know us, CDVS is as we go by, but Corporate Data and Voice Solutions is the long term for our name. Our approach is to focus on the customer and what is important to them, not what's important to us, not what's important to our vendor partner. It is all about the customer. We definitely take a consultative approach to our method, getting to know what the challenge is, what you're trying to resolve, what you're trying to fix in your organization, or maybe just improve on what you have. That is a huge focus of our daily lives here. We do act as an extension of our customers team. You know, it's not about them or us. It's about us in general, right? It's about the team and how to you know, work together the best. We do assist with project planning and implementation. You know, our vendor partners do a great job. So think of us as an overlay to what they're doing to provide their service and launch their service. We continue to, even after the sale, be an ongoing resource. So it's quite often that we might be brought into an organization to help them improve with communication. But then after that project, we'll get pinged about, hey, do you do internet connectivity, or do you do, you know, what do you do for conference rooms and improving Wi-Fi, things like that. So, you know, after the sale, we'll continue to be a big resource for our customer base. We take a high touch approach, but right now, right, no touching, no shaking hands. Do maybe some elbow bumps, but that's about it. But we do take a high touch approach. So we like to be involved as much as we can and as much as you want us to be. We continue to have an extremely high customer retention rate. We've been in business since 2003. We just had an anniversary on July 28th. So we're very proud of that, being in business for 17 or now going into our 18th year. We haven't been able to do that without having a huge and high customer retention rate. We're definitely passionate about what we do. We have to be. We have to love what we do because we do it quite often, and we all put in a lot of hours. But it's passionate hours, and it keeps us going. And the foundation of our business is really quite simple: honesty, integrity, and accountability. Without that, we would not have a great company that we have put together here. So I'll wrap it up with my slides here with a quick one. We want to be your partner, not a vendor, right? We want to be a partnership, a understand what's important to you, understand what's important to your business, what you're trying to achieve, and help you with that. So that's what I had to share with you. So I'm going to close that out.
Awesome.
And hopefully, did that work?
Yeah, it did.
Right.
Fantastic. Yep. I'm going to pull my screen up here and make sure everybody can see this. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
And is it full? Is it full screen?
It is.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I am, Joe, thank you so much truly from our hearts. Your partnership is so invaluable. I mean, we really, really, really appreciate just the amount of energy that you've put into this so far when meeting with you and Pete and the crew. I, as a trainer on the outside, don't hold that direct relationship. Just felt like the warmth and energy and the sincere, genuine, commitment that you have to your customers. And so thank you so much for having us here today. We're really excited to share this message. And with that said, one of the things I promised as we first started, I love interactivity. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to ask for a lot of it. In the chat feature, oh, shoot. All right, no, we're going to do this anyway. There is a feature that you're going to write all of your comments in. We're going to talk back and forth. What is the name of it? And I just said it out loud. What is the name of it? Somebody write it in there. What is the name? Sean. And let me make sure we've got, this is the right Sean. So Sean wrote chat. Yes? Phil. Phil, we're going to get this right. You just make sure there is, you won $50. You have $50 to spend however you like. We want to make sure we get it to you, Phil. That's how easy the writing in the chat feature is. So thank you. Way to go, Phil, from Sean. So we want to make sure that you get that. So really quickly, we're going to give quite a few of those away throughout the presentation. But my first question for the group is, as Joe mentioned just a little bit earlier, we've been in this space since March, right? So it's not new, but what could be new and what I'd like to know, and this will help me tailor this conversation to the group, is how many of you, was that new for you? How many of you already had remote teams? How many of it was kind of like a hybrid, a blend? I'd love to know that. Just write that in the chat feature for me. And while you're writing that, I've got hybrid, thank you very much. Ed, Chrissy, thank you very much. I will tell you a little bit about my background. I've 25 years in telecom. I have always been kind of a hybrid employee, work a little bit from the office, a lot from the field. But for the past, I would say 5 years, not right before I started with RingCentral, I worked for one of the largest telecom companies in the world. And for 5 solid years, I would paddle from my bedroom to my coffee maker in my kitchen to my home office, and I would deliver full day trainings to folks much younger than me virtually. So I'm very, very familiar with, a video or a platform. What I will say that I learned a couple of things from that particular adventure is, number one is it has to be easy. It has to be easy for you, and it has to be easy for the person on the other end, or frustrations go, especially with technology, kind of really go out the window. And you need the right tools. So those were 2 things that really stood out for me, as I did the work from home. One thing I will say is that I absolutely adore a hybrid. The culture at RingCentral is ridiculous. It's ridiculously amazing. And that was one reason I left 13 years at that telecom to join this particular company, is being able to have that in-office culture, but also as it moves, have that same culture virtually. And we've been able to pivot and do that very, very quickly. So thank you for those that are in the actual chat box and you're sharing. We'll make sure that we tailor this message to you. So how does RingCentral, kind of fit into this new world? And what are we seeing other leaders, think about here? You're not alone, right? If you have hybrid or a limited or elective basis, having some of those workers work remote. we've been keeping up with some Gartner statistics and we're really seeing this change. These are the latest and greatest statistics. So they went out and they surveyed 127 leaders in all sorts of categories, from real estate to compliance to HR to CFOs. You know, really seeing what their pulse was. What does it look like as you kind of move forward now that we've been in this space for a while? And that first statistic jumped from like the mid 40s to 82% are really looking at letting their employees work remotely at least some of the time. So we're really seeing this hybrid that a lot of you have put in the chat box already, kind of starting to really take place in many more areas. But the one that jumped the most was from 5%, and this was kind of a CFO statistic, where CFOs were thinking maybe 5% of their workforce would work remotely, you know, permanently. This has jumped to 47%. You know, of leaders looking to let their employees work remotely all of the time. We're seeing that they are productive, or this is working in this space, or maybe flex days and flex hours, especially with folks that have children at home, or maybe I work better really early in the morning or really late at night. So we're adjusting kind of that kind of 9 to 5 office. But the last statistic, and this is the one that I can personally speak to the most, is 85% of businesses confirm productivity has increased because they have greater flexibility. Now, my first question for the group is, how many of you really appreciate flexibility in your jobs today? I'm gonna raise my hand if you can see me. Yeah, absolutely, thank you so much. We love, we see people raising their hands. Yeah, so the was 5%, yes, John. That was, you know what, if I can pull that up, but if you go to Gartner, if you just Google in there, let's see, I think I put in statistics, work from home statistics, and you look for Gartner, they've got all of that in there as well. So you'll be able to see where that started and where it's going today. We're really seeing kind of this flexible trend, and also employees are loving it. So what I think you know, in this latest article, the biggest concern for these leaders now is, how do we keep the culture alive, right? How do we keep what we've been building? How do we keep 17, you know, years, Joe, like you and your team, you know, incredible, even though it's remote, right? And so their biggest concern was, how do we keep teams working as teams? And that's really what we can help with. You know, that's where cloud infrastructure comes into play. That's where, you know, getting the right platform. And that's where Joe and his crew are going to help. Now, RingCentral may or may not be the perfect solution for you. And that's what you'll decide, you know, together as a group, as to what's really going to work best for your company. What we are seeing, and these are some best practices and some things since March, is that as companies needed to pivot quickly, they either had all the tools together, they had some tools together, or they really just relied on the PBX that was within their office itself. So they gathered applications for the remote teams to use so that they could be functional. Maybe it was a quick video platform because it was free, or, you know, they'd heard of it before. Maybe they needed now something for team collaboration because all they had was email. We know the limitations with email or file sharing size. It's absolutely not as personal, right? It's very difficult to keep a culture of a company with just email. Maybe I needed special applications, like I needed to fax. Large document share like Box. And Box happens to be actually a RingCentral customer. We were able to consolidate 17 of their applications and give them one, which they were very happy about. And maybe now I needed an outside carrier so I could do really, you know, really quality voice webinars, right? So now what we're looking at, we love our applications. Now I've got Salesforce.com, possibly Okta, you know, thinking of all the internal Google 365, Office 365, Google Docs, any of those applications that you're using. The challenge that you get now, especially for IT, with all of these applications, is you've got all these different vendors that you're working with. You've got all these different licenses. They don't talk to each other. And this was the challenge that I found when I worked for the other company that I worked for, is that you would have thought that a huge telecom provider would have like the ultimate solution. And what they did is, as they acquired companies, they just patched things together, and everybody had their favorites. So you never knew what platform everybody was using, constantly asking for, a new license. We call this application overload. And what happens is, especially in a remote world, is it makes everything disjointed and it makes it frustrating. So what RingCentral brings to the table, if you're not as familiar, I'm going to ask now, let me ask this in the chat, the chat group, on a scale of 1 to 5, if you don't work for or CDV, what is your knowledge level with RingCentral? Say, let's say a 1 to 5. I've got Ed with a 7. Ed's going to teach this class for us. I've got some 1s, some 2s. Thank you very much. Okay, perfect. So software-based, of course, unified communication. So think about all of these things that you have here under one pane of glass with one vendor, one very easy application for all of your teams to use that is 100% remote or 100% mobile. So you see the man with the handset, definitely being able to do everything from the lowest common denominator, which is your phone. It is amazing. I'll have to say I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So having a platform that makes things super functional, very easy for me, no matter where it is, even like I say, even from a phone is fantastic. And hopefully you've joined because you're searching or thinking about what additional knowledge do I need. I'm hungry, but I also am thinking, what is it that our company needs for the next right steps? So with UCAS software, we've got one service. It's incredibly easy to manage, very easy to set up as well. So if you're used to traditional PBX, which has been very functional and very useful for you, just know that the setup time is fractions of what could be traditional in the past. But it also has to fit into whatever workflow that you're using. It has to do that very quickly. Interoperative, really working with multiple platforms, legacy equipment, that open API, and that's something that sets RingCentral apart, lets you take what applications that are crucial, necessary, and just add them in so that now you still have everything under one pane of glass. Getting more done, that real-time communication. The first thing that I noticed when I joined was that we had a group called Ask an SE. It's an internal group. It's for our solutions engineers. I'm not technical. So having them at the ready 24/7, our marketing team 24/7, being able to ask them a question at any time and everybody in the SE organization being able to answer, that was really something that made my job and getting started much quicker and much easier. And scalable, so simple and scalable, very flexible add-ons. The oldest software you're ever going to have is the software that you have today. So just know that every quarter, everything automatically updates and it's included in the price. And in a moment, I'm going to show you what the platform actually looks like. So things that you may need to consider if you haven't already is, working and learning from home. What does this environment look like, right? Maybe it is next to the kitchen. Maybe you do get to go in the office. How flexible is it? How many people are using data? Right now I am broadcasting live from my parents' basement because they're in their 80s, and I have satellite data at my house because I live so far out into the country. So understanding, how many kids are using it, are there spouses, what does that look like, and is there any way that you can help with this as well? The one thing, if I could say more than anything else, is this continuity, client continuity, customer continuity, everything working together, everything in one space. Very, very simple, very easy. And I'll show you how that kind of works. That's really, truly key, is that flexibility and that continuity, making it hassle-free. So how do we keep our teams connected? One of the things that we're really seeing that's very helpful, and I can let you guys tell me if you find this as well, is reducing the hardware somebody needs in a remote work environment. So things that we're used to having, let's say a printer, right, or a fax machine. Of course, I couldn't live without extra screens, but if I needed to, I could work from the lowest common denominator, which is my phone, which is really, really very impressive. So being able to annotate a document right there on the screen with my teammates, it automatically saves the latest version. Its version control is very simple. I'm not sending things around all the time. Faxing, being able to fax right from the application. Sending a text message right from the application. That's something that's unique to RingCentral as well. So if somebody outside your organization, you want to text them, you can do that as well. So really thinking about how can I reduce that all the extra hardware that they're going to need, and you do that through software. So being able to integrate software demos. Last thing we want you to ever keep you up at night is security. So, you know, how do we keep all of your data secure? That definitely want to have that conversation if that's ever anything you're worried about, especially with cloud-based communications. And the next one, I had a conversation with my mom yesterday about this one because she's definitely afraid of anything computer, right? How easy and intuitive is the software itself? How easy is it to train? Is it how simple, especially with a remote team, can they jump right in and start using it? So those are things that we're also thinking about here. Management role definitely changes in a virtual world. That flexibility, making sure you're able to keep in touch with your contact centers. Are they remote? What type of analytics? We'd love to show you all the analytics tools that are available. Are there project management tools that are already built within the software, or can I incorporate the application or project management tools that I'm using today? So those are questions you'll ask Joe and the team. And as things change, which they are every single day, how am I keeping in touch, right, with my employees? How are we surveying them? How are they feeling about this? Are the tools working? Do I have analytics that show me, you know, which tools they're really gravitating to and which ones they are not, and how can I help them understand and develop into those tools better? So creating that really amazing action plan as we move forward. All right, so before we go any further, I definitely, what are some of the things, I'm going to give away another $50, really simple $50. What are some of the things that you're finding that are working really successful in your kind of remote work environment? What are things you're doing to keep your teams excited or motivated, or tools that you're really seeing? Cloud sharing, Ed, thank you very much. Yeah, using those video platforms every day. You know, we are such social creatures. Giles, aren't we? Yeah. Security on happy hours. Yay, Chrissy. You know, and Chrissy, I will say something about the happy hour piece. The longer we are remote, and the longer, especially if we're used to being together with our teams, spending more time on the emotional part of us as humans, right? Reconnecting, getting that extra 5 minutes in the beginning of the meeting to celebrate a birthday, right, Jason? You know, all of these things. This is really going to be really online document share, collaboration. Love that. Ed, you were my first, and you gave me a couple. $50 for, hey, really quick though, Ed, I'm going to ask. Ed, are you with CDVS? Because the prizes are definitely going to be for the customers here. So as long as you're a customer, then we've got $50 for the team, for you, Ed.
Yeah, they're not CDVS. So
okay, good.
That's good.
All right, congratulations, Ed. Probably easiest $50 you've made today so far. So thank you for everybody that's been sharing. Keeping that culture alive, for sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
So Paula, I do want to, if you could jot this down, had a couple of questions come through. One, and it was from Phil, I know he wouldn't mind me asking, are you going to touch today on integration with MS Teams? And if not, we can follow up with Phil on that one. And then his other question is, apparently there's a new partnership between RingCentral and Atos and Siemens?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so I didn't know if we're going to cover any of that, or we will need to follow up with Phil on those.
So Phil, those are great questions. We do have a brand new partnership, or we've always been able to integrate with Microsoft Teams, but now we've got some enhanced capability with this. It would be better for the SE to come on board and kind of set up that conversation, you know, to really get in depth. We're very, very excited about this. And Joe, I think we've got a training kind of webinar for you coming up within the next few days as well, that really goes into depth with the Microsoft team. So we're really excited about that particular integration. So I'm going to save that one. So we can get a hold of you, Phil, right afterwards. And yes, we say Atos. When I did the conversation with Atos, they said it Atos. So huge UK partnership, absolutely massive. We're, the focus for RingCentral, we've always been a global company. Our expansion now is really very much so reaching that, much larger global audience. This is brand new, the Atos partnership. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of the Avaya partnership, here in the United States, where they will be white labeling the RingCentral product and selling it as their cloud-based solution. So our stock prices are ridiculous right now. If you didn't have any stock, you should buy some. But the global expansion is very large, and we're really excited about that. Just moving up and up and up. Those are great questions.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have, I would love to say that we had so much time, to really talk about all of the best practices. We're going to send you 2 or 3 or maybe 4 different resources, things that you wish you'd have been doing, years ago when it comes to a remote workforce. So just know that's going to be on its way in your thank you letter. So really quickly, let me give you an idea of what, unified communications looks like from a RingCentral, set of lenses or point of view. And one thing that has always impressed me is they start their software build from a platform from the handset. So if it can easily be done from your phone, it transfers beautifully to, let's say, a tablet or a laptop. Everything's in one application. It is, our RingCentral video is browser-based. So if you'd like to communicate with folks outside your organization, they don't actually have to download an app. They can just use a browser link, which is absolutely fabulous. You can also share any file size through that browser link as well. So that makes it really great, not only internally, but externally. Also, let's say I needed to, I wasn't doing this actually virtually, and I needed to run and go grab a cup of tea, right? I can easily take this from here, this meeting, to my handset. It'll automatically transfer over, go grab my cup of tea, and come right back here and then transfer back to my laptop. So this easy transfer to transfer is also something, that makes it very, very easy. And that's also a unique feature that we've got here as well. So what does a unified space look like, and why RingCentral, and why is it maybe slightly different? One thing is that your managers definitely want to know that you're available, right? So that presence feature in the right-hand side lets me know whether I'm here. I can tell you if I'm on vacation. I can put in a do not disturb. Really helps me keep in touch with my teammates very, very quickly. On the right-hand side, we kind of call this, the desktop or the bookshelf. I can pin files that I use all the time, images. I can bookmark files. The storage limit, there is no storage limit. There is, and everything is stored indefinitely. So there's not a time limit. Our emails for us at RingCentral are limited to 6 months. No matter who you are in the company, if you have an email older than 6 months, it just automatically deletes itself, because the RingCentral application holds on to anything you need indefinitely. So it is absolutely phenomenal. No file share size. So when we send this video over to Joe and his team, no matter how many megs it is or gigs it is, it's definitely going to go through. And I can do that right from my phone if I'd like. So that's going to be down here at the bottom. You're being able to, send an internal message. There are GIFs or GIFs, however you like to say it, that you can send as well. All of the fun things that make things, really interesting. Teams, setting up your internal teams, making sure any team, internal, external. We were able to set up a team with Joe and his crew very, very quickly. Love this. If I wanted to start a call instantly, I can start a call. I can start a video share with an individual or a team. If I don't know where the document is, I use the search feature here as well. So all of these things make, just under one application, make things so simple. But one thing that we talked about, and I know, Phil, thank you so much for mentioning Microsoft Teams, is because you may use something today that's working well, but maybe doesn't have all of the features that you need, right? So with that open API platform, you can add, right? I know I've got, Amazon right here from mine. We do all of our Outlook, Salesforce.com, Okta, for HR, Zendesk, all of these, you can integrate any of your business applications. And we have 200 out-of-the-box integrations that are included. I mean, that depending on the package that you choose, that you pay nothing additional for. So those are, 200 out of the box. But we've also developed 2,500 plus private and public custom applications. So if you have something that's homegrown that you don't want to get rid of, no worries. Let's talk to Joe and the SE team and see what we've got. With over 500 API endpoints to build workflows, and we've got thousands of developers, that can work together, with you. So that open platform is something that's not always available for all cloud companies. And we're really excited, bring in what you need and put it under that one pane of glass. So thank you very much. Video, definitely want to make sure, that we're using video. And I want to say, who was it that said video a little bit earlier? There's a couple folks in the, we talked about, making sure that they used, they were using, I was going to look through here. Do me a favor, Joe, can you look through the chat and find out who that was that talked about using video as a kind of a tool? I think it was one of the very first, if it was somebody other than Phil. Video's amazing.
Gillis, I believe, using Zoom daily.
Yeah.
Ed online meetings. I'm going to guess that's probably video too. Yep, definitely. Sean, virtual lunches, right?
I think, okay, perfect. I think it was, and it's either Giles or Gillis or
Yep.
Giles.
Giles, yep.
Yes, so we've got $50 for you, definitely as well. So thank you so much. I think I've got Phil. We definitely want to video. I mean, get up, get dressed, be ready to be online. There's nothing that connects us more, but think about how all of the areas in your business use video, right? Sales, human resources, marketing, support, engineering, professional services. We have an entire team in Manila that I work with. They are part of our team, and I've never met them. Of course, Manila is my territory. I haven't had a chance to go yet, but I honestly feel like I know each and every one of them so well, between their pets and their parents, and just seeing their home environment where they are today. We've built very, very strong relationships just through video. And so absolutely, a way to stay connected and think about how you're going to use any video platform to its fullest advantage. I want to talk to the team about how you're using your video today. But don't leave out your customer service teams. They need to stay healthy. If they need to be remote, how are we making sure, that what type of analytics can we use remotely to make certain that their tools are being used, that they are comfortable, that they are meeting any of the goals and requirements that are allotted for their team. So we've got inbound services, we've got outbound with predictive dialing. I know right now with we're seeing a lot of the outbound with, let's say, our I hate this when the word just flies right out of your brain. It's going to come back to me here in just a second. Well, healthcare is number one. We're definitely seeing that with COVID, with the outbound dialing. I'll come back because we've got another slide on that one in just a minute. Digital is very interesting if you like to meet with your customers on the platform that they're comfortable with. So social media, messaging, in-app reviews, email, chat. We've got resources here as well. With that open platform, CRM integration, Salesforce.com, work from home integration, Chatbox, open API really helps with everything. But one thing that we're incredibly proud of, and it's another differentiator for RingCentral, and I don't know if you've seen any of this, is with the influx of people either moving to the cloud or new applications, just the stability of the platform itself, staying up, staying on. And those 5 nines of reliability, even in this new world, we've been able to keep that. And that's very, very important to us, that doesn't keep you up at night knowing whether or not the platform itself is going to be up and ready for you to go. So we're really excited. We want to talk to the team about that. Security.
Paula,
yeah.
So I had a question offline here.
Yeah.
When your last slide, would
Yeah.
you consider that to be your multi or omni-channel contact center capability?
That is omni-channel, absolutely.
Okay, so one agent can be tasked to do multiple, multiple items if they're capable of doing it. Is that correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So the omnichannel capability, like you said, depending on, how seasoned they are
Sure.
and all of that, that's one of the key features with the RingCentral platform is being omnichannel, which is
fantastic.
And I did remember, and now it went again. Oh, I'll remember here in just a second what I was thinking about with outbound dialing. Goodness gracious, I think I might need an extra cup of coffee this morning. So RingCentral, how do we think through security? And, we've been, earlier, Joe, you mentioned, being in business and having your anniversary for 17 years. RingCentral was born in the cloud. We've been doing this for over 20 years as far as cloud-based communications. Really solid leader in the industry, like very solid furthest to the top and to the right, according to Gartner, for the past 5 years. One of the things that we do better than just about anything is security, even better than some of our competitors that we actually use. So we really want to make certain that, all of your data is very safe. And we partner so closely, with CDVS, to make sure, they've got all of these network, VoIP, application security, cloud security infrastructure, monitoring analytics. They can help with all of these. But if you have special compliance and certifications that your company needs, then let us know, because you want to definitely make sure you do your due diligence to go with a company that's going to have all of this for you. So, got you covered here.
I think we're going to have to give if we have another gift card, we're going to have to give one to Phil, because he's pinging me all types of questions. So,
we'll definitely get Phil. Let's add another $50 to Phil.
Can you talk to, we've heard a lot about a particular video company. I'm not going to put their name out there, but around security, right? So they definitely had some challenges. They may or may not have fixed all those challenges from a security standpoint, but can you speak to how RingCentral is protecting, their customers in and around security, and making sure, those calls, whether they're being multi-way, maybe a meeting like this, or just one-on-one calls, how are you protecting the customer?
That's a great question. And I think, and was that from Phil?
It was, yes.
Phil, thank you so much. The platform that we're actually using right now is through Zoom, right? So we partner with Zoom for platform, and then we have our own platform as well. We homegrown, that was built from the ground up. So the one thing we appreciate is giving our customers choices. One thing that makes that different, and where we're adding those additional layers of security, is we actually have multiple layers that are we have more layers than some of our competition, and we don't route through. Our data centers are not routed through any open, I would say, I don't want to say unsecure platforms. We have additional layers to make certain that everything is. We don't have security breaches are very minimal. We actually have a full security webinar as well, and have the SEs come in. But we are, those 7 layers of security are constantly being monitored, not only by us, but external forces, so that everything stays very safe. And Phil, I'm not sure that I answered that as detailed as an SE would have answered that particular question. All I know is that our 7 layers of security are definitely on the forefront all the time, and we have not had any additional, or we haven't had any, I go knock on wood, any of the breaches that we've seen out there.
Yeah, I'll also, I'm going to take that as a takeaway and follow up for
Perfect.
Phil and his team.
Good. And Phil, I have a feeling that we're going to have a nice little talk with you afterwards, so that'll be perfect. All right, I think I've only got 2 more slides, and then I'm finished for today. So one thing that we want to know, to definitely reach out for you, is If you know anybody in healthcare, I know our kids are getting ready to go back to school, community colleges, public sector organization, news, media, nonprofits, and they don't have something that they're set up with yet. We do. We would like to have them join the RingCentral team. We've got a free offer for them. Phil or Joe has all of the terms and conditions. Let's get them started, no strings attached, for 90 days to see if they, how they can really start communicating, collaborating together. And here's the word I was thinking of. It's nonprofits for those outbound dialing. I hate that when the word totally goes away. So we're always thinking of our nonprofits. 25% off service, 25% off devices. If you know any of those folks and they'd like to check RingCentral out, please talk to Joe and the crew, and we'll get them set up, see what the terms and conditions are here. And with that said, what additional, Phil, you've had some great questions today. We've seen a lot of really great interactivity here in the chat box. Joe, is there anything else from the team?
I'm monitoring. I think we're so far so good. We definitely have some more time here. So please, if we have some other questions, this time is yours.
Yep, we'd love to hear from you because I've got one more gift card to give away.
Okay.
And this one's for $100.
And I can't ask questions, right?
I
can't qualify for that?
You don't qualify for that.
Oh, okay. So John is asking, any thoughts on conferencing calls with clients? So John, if you can give us a little more information, are you talking more like, I think you're using Zoom, and I think I saw something like that, but are you looking for a replacement for Zoom or something different than Zoom? And then Charles, for schools, does this work with automated alert systems? Ooh, that's a really good question.
So that is a great question. I would probably need an SE to chime in on that one, but I'm going to say probably yes. And the only reason is that we did a webinar with one of our techs that was working with universities to help with like emergency situations, right? When everybody, let's say you had to work with the police or the fire department, and they had to understand what building it was in and what room within that building it was in. And RingCentral has the communications platform, but then we work with other vendors, right, that bring in some of the additional automation tools that work together with that. So understanding how all of this works. But we did also, I don't know if this is relating to that particular question, but when we set up Texas Christian University, TCU, one of the things that they were very worried about was how does our help desk or our admin team get, that are used to being in the office, how do they get in touch? Like with now the admin is everywhere, right? They're at home, we've got 10,000 students, we've got, 1,000 employees, and they were able to set up, they've got the automated systems to go ahead and speak to them. So somebody would call in and they would be able to automatically be able to push forward any of those calls or any of that information. So through the automation on the back end.
Okay. All right, great. So a couple of follow-ups from John to his question about reaching out to customers. Easy to dial is important, particularly when dialing in from an iPhone. So if he could send a calendar invite with the dial-in information to the meeting, right? That's definitely powerful.
Absolutely.
So can you speak to in the invite portion of a meeting with the RingCentral?
Yeah. Let me see if I can hold on. Let me see if I can go back to this. So when I get ready to set up a meeting, let's see if it's on here. Go back to this screen. With actually I could share my screen. That might work. You want to do that? Cool.
Yep, I can see.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to see if I can pull up my. Let me go stop my screen share. So we just have, and I'm going to share my desktop. And let me know if you guys can see this.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, good. And it is my desktop itself. It says incoming calls turned off. So when I go to my team, or if I go to my Outlook, so this is built into my Outlook itself. And I'm not sure whether or not you can see this or not, but I've got an icon built into my Outlook that shows when I want to set up one of these particular meetings. I don't know if you're seeing it or not.
No, I'm seeing the RingCentral Classic site.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I want to if I want to set up a meeting itself, I just go to my Outlook. It's also built into my Outlook itself, the RingCentral Classic application. I click that and it automatically puts together. Let's see if you can see this.
So you have, it sounds like you're speaking of a plug-in to Outlook.
Yeah,
so
it's
one
built
click
in.
button.
Yep.
Similar, since it sounds like some folks on here are similar to either Zoom or Teams. So
yes,
you install that plug-in, click the button, and it basically inserts all the dial-in information.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Very,
great.
very simple to do.
All right. So I have a really good question. So quick one, Sean or Phil, I think it's Phil, but do you have calling plans that come with the service for outbound dialing? I know that's a yes.
Yes, that is. Yes, we do. And I would probably have Joe speak to those.
Okay. Yep. So I know there's different profiles or plans depending on the organization's needs. And most of those come with, whether it's domestic calling plans or the like, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to go with Giles, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. This is a really interesting question. And which question do you think we should have asked? That's a really he's a person's deep thinker.
This is a deep thinker here. So I think the question that you ask is, for me is, especially if you're still curious or you've got questions or you're not 100% like positive that the system that you have is going to take you, into the future, is the question is, how do I set up a demo, right? So that we get a solutions engineer in that can answer all the tough questions, can really make certain that they're customizing it specifically to your business needs, because every business is slightly different, taking a look at what you have today, what's working, what's successful, what you can't live without, and then fill in those gaps as to what is really going to be necessary to kind of move you into the future. So I've been with RingCentral now for about a year, and I've never in my career been happier with a platform as far as getting my job done. And it's really been incredibly helpful as we've transitioned. The whole team is, of course, transitioned to work from home, staying excited. And that's hard to do right now, or at least it has been a little bit, with everything going on, right, within the world itself. But one thing that is also important is, because the productivity is so high within the platform, is not to burn out, right? Is to really make sure that you're taking good care of you and understanding when to step back, because you can actually work 24/7 with the platform itself. Joe, did you have a question you thought that should have been asked?
So no, you know what? I want to make sure we hit some of these other questions, but that is a really great question, and if we have time, I will answer it. So we have another one from Arnie, I believe it is. Do you provision phone numbers that are international numbers? Say, I'd like to get a number based in Mexico, and I'm going to put a pin in answering part of that. I have to say that is one of the main reasons that we chose to work with RingCentral, because RingCentral is a global company. So Paul, I'll let you finish that answer, but I wanted to make sure everyone understood that is one of the main reasons why we do business with RingCentral.
Right. And also not just a global company, but we started out, you know, as a, just as a telephone service, right? Over a VoIP type service. And so that is something that we, for over 20 years, of course, is what we've been doing incredibly well, is this, you know, enterprise grade quality voice. We are our own CLAC, so we own our own phone numbers. That also helps with the porting or owning, or, you know, keeping those phone numbers. We do have a global presence. We do have international calling, international dialing, and I would absolutely have you talk to one of our SEs to make sure that wherever that is, Mexico and Canada are pretty much part of, you know, our kind of more of our internal, you know, easy to access, but make sure that we've got that, you know, wherever they're calling in from. But yes, Mexico and Canada are absolutely, and the global reach is included in there as well.
Excellent, excellent. So I believe I have two more questions here. One easier, one not so difficult, longer answer. For those that feel comfortable with hard desk phones, what are their options, and you know, typically what are those options? So
yes. Of course, we partner with some amazing phone manufacturers, and you can still, of course, you know, order and use a hard desk phone if you'd like. We can; those are as long as they will use the internet. So we've got those options available for you as well. You can always use all the features of your soft phone on your laptop or your phone, your wireless phone, are also of the same features that you would also see in a hard phone itself. So if you've got hard phones, we would just need to make sure that they were compatible, right, to the software itself, but we can always make certain that we get you one that is absolutely compatible.
Great. And I know, I know we've done use the Polycom family of phones. They've been a fantastic family of phones working with RingCentral, and I know there's some others, but that's, you know, those are pretty prominent right now.
Yep.
Out there. All right, I think we're wrapping up. One more really good question I can see, and I'll scan again. How about a typical interval for starting up with RingCentral? Are we talking about 1, 3, 6 months? I know my answer. I'll let you answer first.
So that is an amazing question, and thank you whoever just asked that particular question. So a lot of it depends on the complexity, how complex things are, right? So how many phones you're talking about. It's software. As soon as you sign up, we can flip the switch on, right? So if you're looking at one person, you know, and I know that was 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, but depending on how many folks you have and what all you need, if you need integrations. But honestly, we can, as soon as you say yes and we download the software, you're ready to rock and roll. So that's, I think, one of the big advantages over folks that are maybe a little leery, because it took us forever, right, to get our current system up and running, and it takes a little bit of time to get new software updated, or if I want to open up a new office, you know, what's that going to entail? Talking with Joe and the team and an SE to see exactly what your situation is, that is a massive advantage for cloud-based software. And